Roughly 102.1 billion pieces of plastic are used by humans every year. Almost 8 million tons of that plastic ends up in the ocean annually. There are currently 5.25 trillion pieces of plastic in the ocean. This scary information provided by the Balance SMB and National Geographic is very hard to hear, but it must be heard. The growing concern of where our plastic goes is becoming an avid problem many environmental activists are fighting to bring attention to. We humans are large in numbers, 8 billion of us, and we're very wasteful. While this means that our waste spreads quickly and it ends up in the wrong places, it also means that we can spark big change. With the sheer amount of us in our country alone, I think that just starting to recycle could spark a huge change out of pretty small work. Saving the Earth will be a hefty task, but we can start now. At the end of the day, it's not just about plastic and paper, it's about our planet. As I said, we humans are plentiful on this planet, and while that means that there's so many of us that we can just start huge changes, we're just so different that we will never see eye to eye fully. All of us come from different cultures and different ways of thinking. I don't think that going green will ever be a worldwide effort, but we can at least start in our country. I believe one of the best reasons to start cycling is because it's just such a simple task for what it does for our environment. I believe it's very easy to create at least some sort of a recycling system in your home. But it's also very important to understand the effects of recycling. Our waste products like plastic, glass, and metals very negatively affect our natural environments. Think of chemistry. When you introduce something negative to the environment, it will crash. If we cannot balance the anomaly of civilization with the fragility of nature, very poor things will happen to our environment. With the chemicals often used to create materials we don't toss in the trash, it's important to understand why they have to be recycled. Found that this is plastics. Materials like plastic take too long to decompose in landfills, take up too much space, and can release harmful chemicals into the environment. Because of this, we really need to honor why we recycle and what we recycle. The easy ways to begin recycling, combined with the growing importance of doing it, makes recycling a must for any of you wanting to introduce some green into your life, which I'm hoping is all of you. But where do we begin nationally? Because at the end of the day, if only the people listening were recycling, sure, we big change, but we wouldn't make that big of a change. The first step to change is to start. If everyone began a super complex, zero waste, no carbon emission management system in their homes, everything would be perfect and nothing would ever go wrong. But unfortunately, life's not very easy in that regard. Things don't come easy. Things don't happen easily. And so because of this, I think it's important to understand how diverse our country is and how different a lot of our states are. Even in one nation, there are so many different things happening at one time. For example, only 25 states have recycling laws. And while that's half our country, that's still an F by school standards. Do we really want an F for our pollution management? Not to mention that all the states with recycling laws use a single stream system. This means one bin is used for our waste management that is sorted by workers. While this is convenient, it's the easy way out. It can cause contamination, poor material for reuse, and lots of manual labor. It's too good to be true, really, and we don't want to rely on something that's too good to be true in the scope of saving our planet. So because of this, I think that a single stream system should be integrated into states currently without recycling laws, and a multi-stream system should be integrated into states with them. Multi-stream recycling does mean we will have to sort our own recycling materials, but I think it will have great effects. And because change is so unforgiving, it's better to start the countries without recycling laws on a single stream system and eventually boost them up to the multi-stream system to become more zero waste and to help with organization of our recyclable materials and where they end up. Change is unforgiving, but I think if you introduce it correctly, it can become good. People will get used to it. I think this plan will be very beneficial for going green a nationwide effort, and I think that it will allow us to be more adamant about protecting the environment, which in turn will maybe reduce our plastic consumption. Big changes create big impact, and we can do big things with a big country. It is so, so important that we understand the importance of recycling, and we become more adamant about it. It's one of the easiest ways to help the growing cause of saving the Earth. Sure, America just becoming zero waste isn't that big of a deal, because we're not the world. But just think of the possibilities that could come from us starting. Think of the chain reaction we could start. The BBC has a dedicated article on the influence that America has on world economics, military, culture, and world organizations. With how developed our country is, huge events in journalism will spread like wildfire. Picture in your head the recycling boom that could come from the US becoming a powerful environmental advocate. So many countries reference parts of the US and Western culture to build their own infrastructure and government. Science Daily cites that Western culture is simply anything from government to philosophical ideas that are taken from more modernized countries like the US. I believe that if we integrate a zero-waste, going green philosophy in the heads of our citizens, it will spread to the heads of other countries. Not only will our own pollution go down, but we'll start a firecracker effect across the world of lowering pollution. A trend, really, a trend of going green. Think of trends. Wearing ball caps. Wearing scarves. Filming TikToks on your phone. Trends spread super fast. And this is much more than just a simple trend. Saving the Earth is a heavy, heavy task, but we can pull off so much weight off that task if we just become more adamant about waste management. If you simply begin recycling with a single-stream system, working up to a more complex system, you've already started to change. After that, protest, educate, learn, reuse, reduce, recycle, do your part. Passion can plant seeds in the minds of hundreds. And if going green climbs the ladder of US goals, I think it will climb the ladder of goals across the world. Think of the way that history affects how we think now. The Civil War, the American Revolution, the Industrial Revolution, all have changed the way we operate as a country, and as a nation, and as a world. I want the environmental resolution to be popping up in the history books of the future. These are my sources. Thank you.